That's amazing.
The dogs.
Is that even a real story?
That's a fact.
This is complete nonsense, Greg.
Read a book.
I guess you are kind of artistic.
Incredible.
What are you even talking about, man?
Go for broke.
I don't even know what that means. Let's get it going.
Let's get her going. Keep her going, baby.
And we're good. It's the Barkology podcast here. This is Scott, one of your hosts. Still quarantined at our home, so Greg's not going to be joining me. I've been trying to get him to, come do a podcast through the front window of my house with like a 20-foot mic cord, but he's terrified for some reason. There's absolutely no possible way that he would either contract or give me coronavirus from that distance as long as we're disinfecting appropriately. But either way, he's not going to be here today, but I do have a very, very special guest. But before we get going, follow us, as usual, at Barkology Podcast on Instagram, Barkology Pod on Twitter, Facebook. You can listen to us everywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're on all of those, so listen to us, subscribe, do your thing. But with no further ado, very, very special guest today. And because we're quarantined, it's my wife, Leah. What's up, babe?
Hi, Scott. This is my non-sexy voice.
The Leah does not talk like that. But
Hello.
Hey, babe. So the thing is, Greg and I kind of I don't know if we figured it out, but it seemed like every time we had a female guest on, if they're a little bit nervous, whatever it may be, a little bit of anxiety pumping through the veins, they always started out with the porn voice. So Leah came in hot with the man voice, which
I just wanted to mix it up for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we are just quarantined. We're hanging out, and Leah's a nurse, so realistically, she's at the front line. So thank you very much. Praises to you, my babe. But
bringing home the paycheck.
The paycheck, yeah. Luckily, I'm still employed, working from home, whatever that means for everybody else out there. But Leah is the one also bringing home the virus.
Or you could say I'm bringing home the antibodies.
Yeah, true. I mean, if we had it, or maybe we have had it and we're just asymptomatic, we could be those lucky folk. But we're still doing our job by quarantining. We're social distancing. We're not going to see family and all that shit like those Florida.
Well, we did a pop-in.
A pop-in, yeah, we did a pop-in. So describe a pop-in.
So we surprised my godparents by riding our bicycles over to their house and sitting on their driveway on a yoga mat, and having a couple drinks. And they sat outside in lawn chairs, and we were all bundled up in jackets.
Yeah, it's a
and
little cold.
Pants, except for Scott, who decided to wear shorts and no hat, and his bald head was not doing well. And then it started to snow, so we had to end a little early. But it was a fun pop-in.
Yeah, pop-in. So typically a pop-in is you go over, you have some hors d'oeuvres, a couple drinks. But this pop-in was in social distancing for the at-risk elderly. I don't want to say elderly because, 60s these days 60s is the new 80s, but their social distancing is like 25 feet as opposed to the recommended 6 feet, right?
Yep, we were quite far down the driveway.
Yeah.
We were yelling at each other.
Yeah, scream battle, basically. But, yeah, we have to be careful because we could potentially be carrying, who knows. But don't want to talk about coronavirus this episode, but it is nice to do something besides drink wine, do Zoom calls, do some web conferences for work, and then walk
Netflix and chill.
But yeah, we've been doing a lot of Netflixing, not so much chilling. Leah's looking at me like I'm an absolute idiot. So let's get into a couple stories about our pooches, because basically at this point I think they're actually sick of us being home.
We are interrupting their nap time daily.
Daily, yeah, because nap time's usually when? It's like we get up, feed them, and
9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
then...
At least for mine.
Yeah, for Utley. Utley's, I think he's becoming a star on the podcast because he's part of the, he's probably like the Instagram model that we both wish we could be. Just kidding.
You know what I was thinking about the other day?
Hmm.
I think Utley has a very high ego because not only is he an Instagram model, he also now has a face on a puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
He has his own hashtag from back in the day.
Utley Graham, yeah. That's been around for a while.
He's on his vet. He's the dog that poses with his vet on the webpage.
On the webpage. Yeah, he's actually pretty humble. He's not in the best shape, so he's got kind of a dad bod. Well, he's had a dad bod his whole life. But
his back fat when we took him to try and play fetch the other day was moving around a lot. His back fat was very evident, which was a little embarrassing.
Yeah, I think the quarantine, he's put on his COVID-19. No, he hasn't put on that much weight. Maybe like 1 pound. But for a dog who weighs 70 pounds, that can be noticeable.
Most dogs are losing weight because their owners keep having to take them out on a walk to get away from their family.
Well, we're walking him. We're walking him plenty, but then we're also treating him.
We give lots of treats.
Treat yourself, Utley. He's just sitting at our feet right now, like not amused at all. But either way, so yeah, tell everybody a little bit about how we've been spending our time outside of the Netflix and chilling.
Well, we had our tree partially cut down in the back to help grow our grass.
Got to grow some grass.
And it literally looked like an amusement park for dogs. So our neighbor's dog kept coming up to the fence and trying to play with our dogs.
A little bit jealous.
Who had all the sticks they could ever want, just breaking off branches with their teeth. Leo had an obstacle course, so she was not eating the sticks, but she was running circles around Utley, who was trying to eat branches.
Yeah, she was up, she was down, she was running.
We
and
have
ducking.
a funny video, so I'm sure Scott can throw that on the Instagram page.
I'll post it on the gram. Leah's totally against social media for the most part. So
well, it takes up too much of my time. It's not necessary.
Yeah. You've made the conscious decision to eradicate it from your life, but
I don't need it.
You still get on Facebook every once in a while for book club.
Only for book club.
For the girls.
Get on it for the girls.
For the girls. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. And let me elaborate on that because I've never had any branches or trees or anything cut down at any of my previous apartments or at this house that we've been living at for a couple of years now. The guys that do that are out of their mind. I mean, we just got like a small business, a small guy off Angie's List, and he comes in. He's got like spiked boots, like he was going to climb up Mount Everest. Climbs up the side of the tree and just slings a rope around and freaking climbs up the thing like a monkey. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I looked a little bit closer, and he's just got a fucking chainsaw dangling from him from like a lead off his waist. So he'd cut down branches and then just drop the chainsaw and just let it dangle. I was like, what the hell's
Hopefully
going on?
He turned it off before
it was off. Yeah. I taught her how to dangle. Or no, she taught me how to. Wait, what is it? From Forrest Gump?
She taught me. Oh, I taught her how to dangle.
I taught her how to dangle. Yeah. Forrest Gump, one of the greatest movies of all time. But I think Greg and I maybe have referenced Forrest Gump 20 times out of since we started the podcast. But
one of the best soundtracks of all time as well.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, he's climbing up this tree, and the guy's like 60 years old. It was amazing. It was like 60 years old, climbed up the tree like a goddamn monkey, and just cut down all these branches. But the guy was like, specifically, he asked me, he's like, hey, well, you can pay a little bit extra. You can clean up the tree, or we can clean up the tree for you, move it out to the front yard by the road, and then the town will pick it up. And I was like, nah, don't do it. Don't even do it. We need something to do. It's what we're starting to call quarantine activities. So this morning, it was quarantine activities, picking up the tree.
Honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought. We both listened to a podcast, had some time to ourselves, and yet we were together.
Together, but apart.
But we were able to leave the gate completely open, and Utley did not misbehave and run out like Leo would have done, so she had to be locked in the house.
Well, she was passed out again. It's 9 to 3 nap time. She was full-blown nap time.
Yeah, but Utley was enjoying being around us, so it was nice.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Actually, it's funny because we are out there and we're listening to podcasts. We're doing some work together. We're picking up. Some of those logs are pretty huge. I mean, they're like 50-pound logs. So, but
that's a good exaggeration. But it was
40 pound, 30,
fun.
20-pound logs, sticks. But we're sitting there and we both have I had my AirPods in, you had your Beats in, and we're just listening to the same podcast at the same time. So like I'd look across the yard and like eye Leah up picking up some sticks, and I'd see her kind of grin, and like as she's grinning, I'm laughing my ass off in my head because we're at the same part of the podcast. So yeah, I guess we're kind of special.
Special breed.
Yeah, but yeah, you look pretty cool lifting some of those big logs. There was a couple times though you took on a little bit more than you could handle. And
One time.
One time.
One time.
You had to pass it along to me, but I was ready. I was ready. You did great though.
Thanks.
You did great.
Thank you.
But yeah, Utley, that freaking savage. He
was eating the branches off of the big six, and Elliot, the dog next door, was really ready to play, and he was not having it.
He was in a theme park. He was like, stick, 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 stick. He was loving it. But
he was in his own candy land.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Down the chutes. Climb the ladders down the chutes.
Different game, but I like where your head's at.
What am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking
Chutes and ladders.
Candy land.
Same age.
Yeah.
Different game.
Ages 3 to 7. But yeah, he had a good time. He's pretty wiped out right now, sitting at her feet, like I said. But yeah, I mean, I think they're actually getting sick of us though, because we've been taking them on some pretty good walks. We've been playing a lot of fetch.
Utley hates it.
Well, he loves fetch, but
he likes getting the ball and laying down.
Yeah, he's got about 2 runs in him, 2 fetches, right?
Yeah, they're good ones though.
He goes all out.
Goes all out.
And he's like, meh. I'm gonna let my back fat lay down for a second.
And Leah's lame again, so she is she's on the leash.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to participate.
Yeah, I think
in free range activities.
Yeah. I think I touched on it last time, but I think she may have hurt her other knee. And I've probably talked about this 100 times, but she tore ACL a couple years ago. That knee's perfect. So, shout out to the doctor out in where did I get it done?
Right between
Chittenango. Yeah, so out in Chittenango, out in the middle of nowhere, this doctor, he does like 200 ACLs a year. So I was like, I'm going to go to this guy. And that thing's holding up, but I think she hurt her other knee a little bit. It's not, I don't think she completely tore her ACL, if that's what it is, but she definitely tweaked it. So yeah, we're keeping her on the lead, not letting her play fetch. Cause
one of our buddies said it might have just been a muscle.
She could have like pulled her hip flexor or something. I don't know. But we're keeping her on the leash. Making sure she's getting all that glucosamine. What else is in there? Some glucosamine. Occasionally giving her some like dog aspirin if she's like it seems like she's in pain. But I'm not a big fan of pounding the dog with aspirin. But yeah, I think they're getting kind of sick of it though. Every once in a while, if you bust out the lacrosse stick, Utley's in.
Yeah, Utley's all about that.
I mean, he's in. He's a lax bro. But occasionally he's like, I'm not really into this walk thing right now.
He hates them.
He hates it. Oh, I just remembered. There's one thing that I wanted to say as well. We've had a bunch of guests on in the past over Skype and things like that. Leah, I know I know that you know that, but we are looking for a few more guests to have, and I think there's going to be a lot of interest just because. Basically, everybody's stuck at home.
People have nothing better to do. Nothing better to do. Your podcast.
So let's, if anybody's interested, we have a few people lined up coming up over the next month. But if there's anybody else that wants to be a Rona guest, we're more than happy to have you. And it'll actually help keep me sane, I think, because I basically have about 3 hours of work to do during the day from home, and then I'm like trying to keep busy. Like, I mean, Leah's like, Scott, what the fuck are you doing? Because I'll just be randomly painting trim or something like that. So
stuff I want nothing to do with.
Yeah, you're fine. You're like, let me do my puzzle. Let me read my book. I'm good.
It's all I want in life. And my dogs.
Puzzles, books, dogs.
Sometimes the husband.
Yeah, Scott's only there. I only need him sometimes. But yeah, we're looking for some Rona guests. I'll throw it up on the Instagram page just to see if anybody's interested. But with no further ado, we're going to get into the true dog stories of the day. We've got a couple good ones for you. I printed, somehow, I don't know how I always do this. Greg gives me shit. I printed mine out in grayscale, but then I printed Leah's out in like negative and also extra large. So
I like the extra large.
Yeah. So, we probably like equaled out. We like balanced out on the amount of ink that was used between our two stories.
Scott's all concerned about how much ink he's using when Pfizer pays for it. So.
Yep. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter either way. But all right, you want to start? You want me to start? Do you want to start?
I'll go.
You want to go first? Okay. Start us off then, Mrs. Castle.
All right. So the cool thing about this is I keep heckling Scott to get us a Newfoundland. I just want to come home one day from work and have one waiting for me.
Because that's realistic.
Absolutely.
Just here, let me bring home a Newfie puppy. Sure.
But I was fortunate enough to have Scott randomly pick a story about a Newfoundland dog. So,
Ooh.
I know. So here we go. The title is Saves Man in Melbourne Flood. So Nelson's heroic act occurred on November 15th, 1881, when a cabman named Thomas Brown was swept away by flood waters in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, shit. So, yeah. Wait, so I thought, I guess, I don't know the geography of Australia. I thought it was pretty dry, but I guess there is, I don't know, I guess there's other parts that flood as well. My bad. Keep going.
All right, here we go. So according to the Melbourne Herald, in 1931, 50 years after the event, quote, close to the gutter, which was a torrent 5 feet deep, seething to a culvert 50 yards down the hill, a cabin man was trying to keep his horse still while waiting for his passengers.
Wait. What year was this? Sorry, I forgot.
1931, but it was 50 years after the event.
Oh, okay. So so Nels, go ahead. You got it.
At length, the clambered down to quieten the beast. I don't really know what that sentence is. I think clambered or something, CLAMBERED. It must have to be something to do with a horse, but I honestly have no idea.
I'm not a horse person.
I'm not a horse person, and I don't know that word.
Okay.
So, and at the end of the moment, it tossed its head and knocked him insensible into the gutter.
Uh-oh.
In a moment, he was being swept down towards the culvert. So William John Bill Higgerbotham and his dog Nelson heard Brown's cries to help. Mm-hmm. So by nature, the Newfoundlands are water dogs. Their muscular build, thick double coat, and webbed feet make them excellent swimmers in rough conditions. Nelson jumped into the stream and caught hold of Brown's clothing.
Ooh.
Because of the force of the water, the dog could not keep his grip, and Brown swept quickly down the block. This happened a few moments before Nelson, Bill, and another man were able to haul Brown out of the water. The cabin man's clothes were badly torn, believed to be the result of Nelson's effort to catch hold of him. Nelson was presented with a silver dog collar for his heroism. According to Bill's son, Charlie, Nelson never fully recovered from the effects of the choking struggle in the culvert. Although he was able to take part in the annual procession of the Albion Fire Bridge 6 months later, and half the city was turned out to see him presented with the silver collar for his part in the rescue. The collar can be found at the National Museum of Australia.
Damn, Nelson the Newfie. Also, I mean, realistically, giving a dog a silver collar towards the end there doesn't make any sense, but whatever. I mean, a full silver collar.
Well, I'm going to disregard what you just said, but I keep thinking about, remember back in the day we used to watch Dog 101?
Oh, yeah. YouTube series.
Yeah.
Or, no, it was part of Animal Planet, maybe.
Exactly.
Tells you about dog breeds.
Yeah, I loved watching the Newfoundland one because it made it just gave a great idea of what you get when you get a breed. And the Newfoundlands always seemed like the best for me because they were very similar to Utley in that they don't need much exercise and they love the water.
Well, I mean, one of those is like Utley.
Well, Utley likes to wade in the water.
Yeah, he wades. He goes about 2.5 feet deep, so it's right up to the bottom of his chin, and he hangs out.
He likes to chill.
It's so weird. Utley's a unique dog because when we met almost 7 years ago, I mean, we met before that, but when we started dating like 7 years ago, he was, 6 months old, and he'd never been in the water. You guys never took him in the water. He's a yellow lab. So
right.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was 6 months old.
Yeah, and then
he spent the entire summer going up to our cabin and not going in the water because he was too scared.
In the cabin's an island. You have to take a boat to it. How do you not get the dog in the water? So yeah, I threw him in, and it took him a little while to adjust, and he never really fetched either. And I think part of it was because Leah is a little bit more dominant. So when Leah was in her younger years, she would go out and fetch sticks. Like I could throw it 40 yards as far as I could into the water. She'd fetch. Utley wouldn't give a shit.
No, he would just wait for her to bring it back, and then he would be standing in the water, and she would be swimming, and he would just go over and take it from her.
Yeah, she'd almost like give it up to him, and then he'd bring it to us, and then we'd throw it. And
sometimes he would, other times he would just
other
lay down
go
and eat it.
Roll in the dirt. Yeah, but finally, now that he just turned 7. Oh yeah, happy birthday!
Both of them did.
Yeah, Leah's 9, fucking old hag. But Utley, now that he's 7, he loves retrieving.
No, he loves getting.
No,
he
but
doesn't bring it back.
Well, eventually he does when he's like, fuck, I want to go do something else. But yeah, but now he's the one. Leah does, because she's getting older. She doesn't go, try to get the sticks in the water. He does.
Yeah.
Oh, how the times have changed, huh? All right, so Nelson the newfie, he was a boss. He was a boss. Very cool. I like that story. It wasn't a very long one.
No,
but
it was quite short. But I do know, I must be thinking of St. Bernards. You should do a story about a St. Bernard, because they used to actually wear the barrels and get people from avalanches.
We have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't listen all the time.
Yeah, which I think Greg and I were talking about it, and they don't use St. Bernards anymore. They use, a lot of times they use like golden
technology.
Technology, but they also use like golden retrievers because they can get there quicker. So they use like the tech. Like if somebody goes down in an avalanche, if you're skiing in those type of conditions, you typically have like a transponder in your bag or whatever it may be. But they use the technology to find the person, like the area the person's in, and they'll let the dog go first. And they use golden retrievers a lot because they have a phenomenal sense of smell, and they'll use like golden retriever mixes with like hounds and shit like that. So
all I keep thinking about is the James Bond in the early 2000s, late 90s, when he has the ski coat and he's skiing and the avalanche comes and he ends up, him and one of the Bond girls, he like grabs her
probably
and he
a
like
whore. Sorry.
he ends up pulling the tab and it makes a dome around them.
Which is completely ridiculous.
Awesome.
Not realistic, huh?
And saves them from the avalanche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not realistic.
We got to rewatch that one.
Did I ever tell you about the time? So my mom and my dad, when they got married, they went up to Banff, Canada, both
for their honeymoon.
Yeah, they were both big skiers at the time. I don't know, like 30, something like that. But my mom and my dad were at the base, and I think this is in Banff. It might be somewhere else, but I know they have a picture of it at the house. My mom does still, but it was at Lake Louise, I think is what it's called. But they're at the base of that, and out of nowhere, there's an avalanche, and my mom started like running away, thinking the avalanche was like close because it was so loud. It sounded like if you were to like bowl a strike in bowling, like but right up close to it. It was just like thunderous. And my dad beat skiing out in Wyoming for a lot of his like teens and early 20s. He knew that the avalanche was like 10 miles away, or like 5 miles away or 2 miles away, whatever it is, but completely out of danger. But my mom like panicked. But the fact that that it's like so thunderous and dangerous and powerful. The fact that in Bond, and I love Bond, I love Daniel Craig. He's the best Bond by far.
This isn't the one with Daniel Craig.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
So I'm about to shit on the previous Bond movie.
Of course you are.
But the fact that they thought they could just like blow up a little stupid thing and survive the avalanche, nonsense.
It's James Bond. What do you expect?
I know. They couldn't have thought of a better
storyline.
Pierce Brosnan, go fuck yourself. All the elders, all the goddamn elders that are James Bonds, go fuck yourself. Daniel Craig's the best.
No.
Who do you think's the best?
Go to the original. I won't be able to remember his name.
Sean Connery's great. He's great. Who else? Who else do we have in Bond?
I like Pierce Brosnan.
He was okay. He was okay at the time, but now you look back at those movies, you're like, cheesy as fuck.
Yeah, it's Hollywood.
Yeah,
I
guess.
Matches up with the time.
There's not a lot of movies.
Sorry they can't all be made in 2020.
Yeah, there's not a lot of movies that do hold up from like over 15 years ago. Either way, who I thought would be a good Bond, though, and they've talked about it. I don't know if it's going to come through because there is a new Bond coming out soon. I know
it was supposed to come out April 4th or April 6th, and now it's coming out November 25th, the day after my brother's birthday, and we're gonna go.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You guys love doing that.
Love it.
You guys do Star Wars on
Christmas.
and then
Christmas Eve or Christmas, depending what I got off.
yeah, and then you do Bond whenever because for some reason you guys are 007 fans.
Who isn't?
I know it's true. It's true. I'd suck Daniel Craig's dick. Just kidding, but maybe. I don't know, babe. Either way, no, but the new one, and I'm fine having a black Bond, but they've talked about having a Idris Elba. Do you know who that is?
Is that a girl?
No, Bond can't be a girl. They can do like a spin-off and do like 008.
Well, I think we've all come to the conclusion that 007 is a title.
No, it is. It is. But if you're going to start a new show with a woman as Bond, it's got to be called something different, I think.
I think it can be called 007 and have a woman, but I just ask that it's a badass movie.
Yeah, which is tough. Which is tough to do. We know this.
Excuse me, what was our favorite movie we've watched so far?
Well, your favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Margot Robbie's pretty sexy.
She was amazing.
Yeah, Birds of Prey is what it's called.
It was so good.
I think, is it technically a DC Universe film?
It is, yes.
So, yeah, that was a good one. So if you guys
Phenomenal.
if you're looking for not only kind of a chick flick, and Margot Robbie, obviously, being as sexy as she is, and Leah's looking at me with a stink eye right now, even though she knows.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. But
no, I love her. I thought it was all around such a good movie.
You actually love her more than I do, but great movie.
Great plot. Great action.
Mm-hmm. And you made a good point. You said, and I guess maybe the gold standard of like women empowerment movies from an action standpoint is like Charlie's Angels, right?
Well, I just love Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, but this movie put Charlie's Angels to shame.
You're talking about
old
the
and
new one.
Old and new, I think.
I don't know. It's hard to
the
beat
old ones.
Lucy
The old ones
Liu,
are pretty good.
Cameron Diaz and
E.T.
I know what's her name.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, where's she?
Because I always thought it was funny how like Cameron and Drew, like two guys' names.
Drew, I guess, is definitely a guy's name. Cameron I think is unisex.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, right?
Sure.
Sure.
It's 2020.
2020.
All right, go ahead with your story.
All right, you want me to read?
Sure.
All right, so the print is tiny. It's in grayscale, but I'm going to see if I can do the best I can. All right, so the title of my story, Greg always says, by the way, Leah, you didn't do this, but Greg says, don't tell the title.
Why?
Because in a lot of these stories that we read, because I just randomly print them off, the title kind of like gives away the story.
Oh,
it'd be like,
God.
Flynn, who saved the man from the bridge collapsing. And
who cares?
but it like gives away the story. And maybe we should call up your mom actually because I have no idea how to pronounce this. But
is it French?
It's French. Yeah, your mom can
or grandmother
or grandmother can do the French thing, but
not Lloyd.
Not Lloyd.
He took French for like 17 years and is terrible at it.
He's not good yet, but I don't think he really cares about that.
This is true.
All right, so I don't have any idea how to pronounce one of these words, but I'll give it a try. So the title of the story is Robot Discovers Lascaux. It's a French word, I think.
Sounds good to me.
Lascaux. Okay, so discovers Lascaux cave paintings. Robot became famous in history for discovering one of the greatest collections of prehistoric artwork. Ooh. What's that movie you love?
Which one?
Monuments.
No, I read the book.
Oh, you read the book?
Yes.
But it's about them like finding artwork
No. So it's about World War II, and they hid a bunch of world-class art because the Nazis were going to come take it and destroy history.
Mm-hmm. So we
fantastic novel.
Monuments Robot. Okay, perfect. It's right around the same time frame too. I mean, this is a year after the war started. So in September 1940.
Nope.
What?
Not 1940.
What?
It must have been 1943 if it was after the world.
No, it's a year after it started.
So 1943.
No, it started in 39. World War II started in 39.
We're going to have to cancel that out.
Oh, it's fine. I know.
All right.
All right. Okay, so in September 1940, 4 teenage boys, Marcel Ravadat, Jacques Marcel, Okay, these are all just fucking French names. So there's 4 guys. There's Marcel, Jacques, George, and Simon. Okay, and it's Marcel Ravidot's dog. Okay, so Marcel's dog Robot set out on an adventure in the Dordogne region in southwestern France to search for treasure. So in the 1940s, you're still searching for treasure, I guess. According to an old legend, the treasure was hidden in an underground passage deep in the woods of Montignac. French. I'm okay with Spanish.
No, you're not. You
Be-
think you are, but
better than this. Montignac? I have no idea. French, I don't know what certain letters mean. Either
Sound
way.
it out.
Either that's the worst way to do French. That'll sound terrible. So when they're searching for treasure, as they walked through the dense brush, Robot found a small hole next to an uprooted tree. Ooh, okay. The boys enlarged the hole and slid into the dark chamber beneath the ground. Their hopes of finding treasure happened. Okay, that's a stupid sentence. The treasure was a collection of ancient artwork dating back to at least 17,000 years.
Do you know how much money they just made?
Debatable. Yeah, if they can get it out of there. Fucking Robot. You name your dog Robot, I have to assume you're quite dumb.
Why?
I don't know. Who names their dog Robot?
Who doesn't?
I guess. Good point. So Marcel would later say that they could see a cavalcade of animals larger than life painted on the walls and ceiling of the cave. Each animal seemed to be moving. So that seems to be this is actually like a historical monument, I think, based on looking at the pictures. But basically like what are Egyptian
Hieroglyphics?
Yeah, it looks like hieroglyphics. So whatever a cavalcade of animals. So a cavalcade. I've never seen that word, but it makes sense. So paintings on the walls, basically. Some 600 paintings and nearly 1,500 engravings decorate the interior walls of the Lascaux cave. The displays depict many animals, some abstract symbols, and one human. Painted representations of humans are rare in Paleolithic art. So I guess if they did like carbon dating or whatever they do, they found out that it was 17,000 years ago, Paleolithic. So
That's sweet.
That's fucking so old. Okay. The cave was opened to the public in 1948, causing the artwork to deteriorate. In 1963, to protect the artwork from further deterioration, the cave closed to the public. In 1983, a replica cave known as Lascaux 2 opened to allow tourists to have some experience of the original. And that's the end. Sorry, my story's short too.
No, that's cool. I just wish that they didn't mess it all up by having people go in there.
Oh, like everything? Like our Earth? Like the planet?
No, don't go deep.
I know. Leah's got a little bit of a green thumb, to say the least. You playing footsie with me? You want to fucking fight? But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. You'll see it. So the picture that it's depicting, and I don't know if this picture is correct, but everybody's seen it. So you think about, I think it's the bull in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe up on, I mean, it's a very, very...
Well, why did the people destroy it? Were they touching it? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm assuming that because it was open to the public, they'd come in, touch it, they'd breathe on it, they'd bring in...
Breathe on it?
Well, yeah, honestly, anything, breathing on it, bringing in dust, bringing in dirt, all that kind of shit.
That's
when
a good
it
point.
was just static before. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
that's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the True Dog Stories of the day. Did you have something to say? I just interrupted Leah.
no.
No.
Well, we have a cool afternoon.
We
planned.
do. We do have a cool afternoon. And give me one sec. Sorry, I just had to grab a little bit of white wine because apparently that's what I drink in quarantine. I'm a white wine guy now.
You're a headache guy now.
Oh, my God. I don't know how, like, not to categorize any particular group of people, but chicks in general, I don't know how they drink so much white wine without having just pounding headaches. I'll have like 2 glasses and my fucking head is destroyed the next day.
Moderation.
Well, I just said 2. Okay, so 2 to a bottle.
2 for girls, 1 for boys.
Oh, okay. So 2 to a bottle. I mean, it's the same headache, though. Either way. All right, so
Sounds like a personal problem.
maybe it is. Maybe I can't deal with the fucking white wine sugar content. I don't know. It just sucks the hydration out of my brain.
Moving on.
Moving on. So what are we doing this afternoon?
A poppin'.
Oh, yeah, we're doing another
A
pop-in.
surprise. Well, we had to kind of plan it out with my brother's fiance / one of my best friends.
Gil?
Because
Gil?
Jill.
Jill with a G.
It's French.
It's François.
Because my brother is very spontaneous in that he goes on very long runs and is kind of annoying. So
Very long. By long, she means like he'll just go out for a casual 9-miler. That kind of thing.
Little marathon for you.
Yeah.
But we had to coordinate with her so that he would be home, and we're going to surprise him because he's boring, and
Yeah.
we need to spice up his life.
So our pop-in the other day, where we hung out with the older folks.
Complete poppin'.
Complete pop-in, yeah. That was a total surprise. I'm
That was
glad.
great.
I mean, we knew that they'd have nothing
We
else
got
going
a chicken
on.
out of it.
Oh, yeah. We popped in, and they delivered us a smoked chicken the next day.
Well, they were planning on it anyway, but it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So pop-in today, though, we're going a little bit longer. So the first pop-in.
4.7 miles there and back.
Yes, we're biking. I bought Leah
A cruiser.
a cruiser for her birthday. It's not even her birthday yet. Her birthday's in May. Got her a bike though for her birthday, but I gave it to her early because we're
Big
quarantined.
old seat on that
Yeah,
thing.
we're quarantined. And you're like, I need something that I can go
Biggest
to
seat.
Wegmans, go to the grocery store.
And the bar.
Yep, and the bar
And
as
my
well.
friend's house.
Yep. So, but you need it to be comfortable. So you need the big old fat seat for your
Yep.
booty.
Mhm.
But then also it needs to. Well, this is what I thought. I was like, I can't get you just like a straight beach cruiser because one, if you hit bumps, it's gonna suck because there's no shocks. But then at the same time, if you had a beach cruiser, you're just gonna fuck it. It'll take you an hour to go a mile.
Which is fine.
Well, I guess, yeah. But for today, we're going to do a round trip of probably 10, 11 miles. So, got you a Schwinn something. I don't know. Either way, but it's got like the hybrid tires. It's got front shocks only, not the back shocks, not like a super mountain bike, which is perfect. So if she hits some bumps, it's good. But at the same time, the gear...
5 gear.
It's more than a 5 gear, isn't it?
Nope.
Okay, just 5 gear. No, but isn't it 2 on the left, 5 on the right?
I have no idea what that means.
I think it's a 10 speed, like
It's
an old school,
fine.
like 10 speed.
Whatever.
But either way, so you can keep
Perfect.
up with me because all I have is it's actually Greg's bike. His dad got it for him, but Greg doesn't exercise anymore because he's a bitch. And I hope he's not going to listen to this, but I hope he does because he's a bitch.
Moving on.
But I have his bike, but it's a road bike, and I kind of converted it into like a.
Okay, so off topic. So we are going to do a pop-in and have a couple drinks and enjoy the beautiful Rochester Genesee River
Yes, the Genesee River, where
and smell dinosaur barbecue,
yeah, they live.
and then end up bringing some home. I'm sure.
No, we're not going in.
Yeah.
But we're gonna pop in. We're gonna maintain our social distancing.
Of course.
Obviously, we're gonna be
We're
on
going to be outside, so we're bringing our
outside
sleeping
on
bags.
open door patio. We're gonna bring our own cocktails
Yeah, own cocktails and hors d'oeuvres.
and hors d'oeuvres. So
we're
not.
bringing our own
Yep.
hors d'oeuvres. They have their
And
own hors d'oeuvres.
we're
Scott's going to bring a hat this time, so he's not a bitch.
I am gonna wear a winter hat. Yeah, because I don't have hair. Thank you, Leah. You love it. But yeah, so that's gonna be our afternoon. I wish
And
we
then walk the dogs.
then walk the dogs when we get back. Yeah, so that's our exercise for the day. You have to get out. You know what? When you're in quarantine, you just have to get out and get some exercise.
I thought the tree, moving all the tree branches this morning was our exercise.
That was exercise 1.
all right.
But I mean, I was surprised at how much you could lift. So either way, but I wish the stories were a little bit longer today. They weren't. Didn't really plan it out. Lee and I were like, "Hey, why don't we do more podcasts?" And now she's going to be a regular guest.
We'll see.
She'd rather be doing puzzles, books, and dogs.
Yep.
And Scott.
Kind of.
So love you guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up for the day because we have to get going for our pop-in number 2 of the quarantine. Love you guys. Love the dog pack. Greg and I coined everybody the dog pack. I think it seems to be catching on a little bit. But
all right.
all right. But love you guys. As always, and to close things up, We're looking for Rona guests. We'll just do it by Skype, even though your Wi-Fi might be throttled because everybody is watching Netflix and chilling or watching porn. I think Pornhub reported that they're like up 500% in the amount of people who are watching.
That's amazing.
Everybody's jerking off. But either way, we'll do a Skype call, and love you guys. Follow us at Barkology Podcast on Instagram, Barkology Pod on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe, listen at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And usually I say, Greg, wrap us up, but I'm going to do it to you, Leah. So wag more.
Bark less.
Oh, my God. Look at that voice. That's so beautiful.